Mariners fans, oh, Mariners fans. Welcome back to another episode of Monday Mojo. This is episode 83, and as I'm looking at the temperature in Seattle right now, it's 83 degrees. We hope you're staying cool if you're in Seattle. If you're not, we hope you're staying cool as a cat, right? We are coming at you after having a 3-3 week, 500 week. We are once again back at 500 at 20-20 as you're listening to this on Monday. We have a lot to cover. First of all, I think most importantly, one thing I did want to just address since I wasn't on last week's episode, I wanted to say how stoked I was about beating the series against the Astros. That's a big freaking vibe, right? So I know that the boys covered that last episode, but myself, Max Schwabe, Chris Sobba, and Evan Barron are here this week to talk about the series with the Rangers and the freaking Detroit Tigers. 3-3 in the week. Let's talk about some of the highlights, right? Texas. What do you think overall, Chris?
I mean, obviously wasn't what we wanted. Losing the first game, winning the second game in a shutout, 5-0, and losing the third game. But coming in, I wanted to talk about the movement in the lineup to where JP Crawford has gone to the 1-hole. And Julio's been dropped down to the 3-hole, which has been both those moves have been benefiting us quite a bit on the offensive side. JP Crawford.
Yes.
This season so far, he's had 5 opportunities with the bases loaded. Out of those 5 opportunities, what would you say he has successfully gotten a hit? What do you think he is? Is he 0 for 5? Is he 1 for 5? Is he 5 for 5?
His batting average? Yeah.
Not his batting average. Just no.
I say 3 for 5.
I 2 for 5?
5
Maybe
for
2
5.
5 for 5 with the bases loaded.
JP Crawford, giant penis, crawdaddy, is 5 for 5 with the bases loaded. That is the ultimate clutch factor that you can have. And him getting moved up, not all of those obviously are in the one spot. Okay. As I started this, but point being is the man is now he's on fire. And as of late, especially yesterday, I mean, he's got like a 9-game hitting streak right now, which was extended today. Ty France, he's got an 11-game hitting streak. Julio's got a 3-game hitting streak as of today, Sunday. Same with Teoscar. He's got a 3-game hitting streak. And I know I'm going out, kind of down a rabbit hole here with how many hit streaks we got going, but it's a good sign for our offense is where I'm going. And with the movement in the lineup, I know the record against Texas wasn't as great as we wanted, but to come and then go almost sweep the Tigers, which is a team that going into it, they were kind of somewhat hot, but they're just not that good. And so it showed. Riley Green, he had a really good series, but we almost swept him. And Julio, with him going into the 3 spot, right? I mean, his hits are coming as well. And so it's a 500 week, what we had, right? But there were some good signs. There were a lot of good signs with what our offense is doing. And Ty France, he's been on fire. And so I'm looking forward to what we got coming up next, which we'll touch on later against Boston and ATL, the Braves. But, obviously, to answer your question, wasn't pumped about the way that the series against Texas went, but that's okay.
I agree. I think the one game that I really wish we could have back was that first game on Monday when we lost the Rangers 2-1. Logan Gilbert goes 6.2 innings, 3 hits and 2 earned runs with 10 strikeouts. That is a pitcher, or that is a stat line for a pitcher that did not deserve to have an L next to his name.
Well, right? So we recorded our last episode on, I think, Tuesday morning last week.
Okay.
Some scheduling conflicts. So we actually touched on that game, and I think I may have done a little bit of a jinx because I was watching it and I put a post on our Instagram story saying Logan Gilbert was shoving with 18 up and 18 down. He was perfect through 6 innings. Yeah, man, he was having a stellar game.
So this is your freaking fault?
No, Dave Sims was also talking about it too, as he always does.
Oh my gosh.
But he had a stellar game. He did. And our pitching in general, the Seattle Mariners pitching is back to where we all expected it to be, which is, one of the best pitching staffs in the league. And to touch on our bullpen, this was a stat as of Saturday, tweeted out by Alex. Oh no, this wasn't tweeted out by Alex Mayer, but I heard it on the broadcast. The M's bullpen as of Saturday, May 13th, had a 2.77 ERA. No other team in the league, no other team's bullpen had below a 3.00 ERA, and ours was 2.77. Damn.
I want to add on to that. The Seattle Mariners have the fourth least runs allowed in the league, right? That is phenomenal. And of course, the ones that have least earned runs are the Minnesota Twins, first place, Tampa Bay, first place. They have the least amount of runs given up. And the fourth one is Houston with 147, right? Mariners have given up 150 runs. If we can figure out our goddamn offense, and if Teoscar and I hate to say it, if Julio can start, having better pitch selection, then I think it's a whole new ball game for the Mariners. So to your point, I would agree. I think our pitching is where it's at. And let's not forget freaking Bryce Miller, man. I mean, this kid is exactly what we need in replacement for Robbie Ray. So this is a hugely promising asset that we're working with here. But when we have a guy who's second in the league strikeouts, when we have folks that are not using their best judgment when going after pitches, it's going to put us in situations late in the ball game where we're not, getting runners on base, and then obviously moving them around. I love that. I love what JP has been doing lately. We love what Jarek Kelenic has been doing offensively. But when it comes to, classic old getting runners on base, moving them around, singles, doubles, that's proper baseball that will give us a lot more runs when we already have very talented pitching, both starting rotation and bullpen.
Bryce Miller, as you brought up earlier in there, I'm just going to throw this stat. This is what was tweeted out by Alex Mayer. Bryce Miller has the lowest whip, which is walks and hits allowed per innings pitched. It's a 0.0421. He has the lowest whip through a pitcher's first career starts, a minimum of 15 innings pitched total in Major League Baseball history.
What? Really?
That's an incredible stat. That is an absolutely incredible stat.
But this is after three starts.
Let's break that down.
3 starts.
That's after 3 starts. Let's break that down. Whip walks and hits per innings allowed per innings pitched. It's 0.042. That means every inning he's allowing less than half a walk or a hit.
That's less than half of 1%.
Less than half of
No, wait. No, that's 4%.
Yeah, I'm right.
Yeah,
I'm right.
Yeah.
So that's just absolutely incredible. First, and he's gone through. It was Oakland, and then it was Houston, and then Detroit. And so, 2 kind of shitty teams, 1 really good team. But nonetheless, he's still doing it against major league teams, and that's really good to see. George Kirby on Tuesday, where we got that shutout, he twirled his 6th straight quality start, trailing Framer Valdez, who got one that night as well at 7 for the longest active streak in MLB today. So he's got 6 in a row, and he'll be pitching again later this weekend. That's something to keep an eye on, see if he can get another quality start to get 7. But he's shoving. George Kirby's found something. His fastball's come alive, and let's not forget that Texas Rangers offense the night that George Kirby went in, it was the second strongest offense in the league. And so Kirby's doing his thing too.
Yep. Kirby is doing his thing. I think he had a rough go at it at the start of the season, but I think this is back to what we're seeing. Classic Kirby, as we'll call him. Evan, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I just kind of want to touch on even what's crazy about the bullpen too is they're doing this all without Andres Munoz as well. And just an update on Munoz, which kind of is a bummer because I got him on my fantasy team. An MRI came back recently and it showed more shoulder inflation, so they're going to shut him down for another few more weeks. So it's looking like probably not going to get him back until June, which kind of sucks. But I don't know how much, Chris, you might know more on this, but I've seen on Twitter there's a lot of hype around Prelander Berroa.
Berroa.
They're saying I guess he's a reliever and he's going to potentially get called up soon. But do you know much about him?
Yeah, no, we've talked about him before. We talked about him on the show. I think he was like one of the guys that I wanted to look out for this year. We got him. I forget where in a trade. I have to look it up real quick, but I don't want to. No. He throws absolutely. I mean, he's Jerry DiPoto's like cookie cutter pitcher. Gas and then a nasty slider. Right. And he's got I think a wide mix of pitches, but he throws absolute gas and he's got some off speed filth. And he pitched in spring training. I liked what what we saw, but no, I'd be pumped to see him come up. Speaking of bullpen pitchers that are young and recently kind of getting brought up or looking to getting brought up, he made his major league debut this last week. I think he had 3 appearances. I don't think he allowed a run. He's looked pretty good. I could be wrong on allowing a run, but I'm almost positive he hasn't allowed a run. He's a coveted prospect that we've had for some time, been wanting to bring up, and he did his thing. He did his thing this week. So a little tip of the cap to Wanthen.
Yeah, tip of the cap to him. Look, my main takeaway here, and to your point about Munoz, that is a big loss. Good thing is we are getting him back in June. Hopefully we won't feel that hit as much as one might think. But my biggest takeaway, keep the runs allowed down to 150. Keep that shit low. We got to hit runs scored. We got to move that number past 200. Right now we're at 174. We need the bats to come alive, right? Even without Munoz, I think we can do just fine. But to keep things short and sweet, we need more goddamn contact to the bat. We do have Ty France doing his thing. We have JP staying hot and Kelnick. Teoscar's got to talk to Edgar or something.
He's got to stop chasing the slider, man.
He's got to. I watched the end of. I watched the end of Sunday's game against the series finale against the Tigers, and the Tigers announcer was, "Hey, look, Teoscar is a dangerous hitter, but he's the second. He's second in the league for strikeouts, and this is where the pressure comes on, and we're going to see him strike out right here." And I thought to myself, "Oh, screw you, buddy. I think he's going to drive in like these last 2 runners on first and second." And sure enough, he chases a goddamn slider.
I love listening to the opposing broadcast sometimes.
I do too. And especially when it's a lousier team. I mean, yes. you can't beat the Oakland Athletics opposing commentators because, God knows, I feel so badly for them.
It's like they got to be like the announcers and Angels in the outfield before the team turn good, and they're just drinking whiskey on the side.
Drinking whiskey on the side for sure. Yeah, at least they're getting a paycheck and they're enjoying the beautiful game of baseball.
Hey, speaking of, while we're off topic of the M's, I want to bring up some things around the league that I saw this week. And one of the coolest things that I saw around the league this week took place in Camden Yards. The Baltimore Orioles fans, I don't know if I'm sure you haven't seen this, but
are you that sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. Have you heard of their bird bath celebration?
Yes, actually,
have?
yes. The
Okay.
Cedric Mullins situation.
Dude, so that was before. So hold on.
But,
So
no,
that
but
was
first of all,
they've
first
had
of all,
no.
first
no,
of
no.
all,
You hold your horses. You're gonna
okay.
hold your horses here. I'm talking. And the bird bath celebration was before Cedric Mullins hit that home run. It's been going on this week. I don't know if it started before this week.
He hit for the
but
cycle.
Yes. And so that was like the Baltimore Orioles fans are doing the celebration where I think it started in a certain section, and they have their beer, their water, and it's called the bird bath. And they're just tossing it in the air, getting everybody wet. And anytime something crazy happens. So on Friday or Saturday, I believe it was Friday, Cedric Mullins was having quite the day. And it gets to be the bottom of the 8th. They're playing Pittsburgh. I believe they're down a run. Runners are on first and third. Cedric Mullins has hit a single, a double, and a triple in this game already. And the Baltimore Orioles are losing. Like I said, it's the bottom of the 8th. And Cedric Mullins hits a homer to take the lead
And complete the cycle.
Complete the 7th cycle in Baltimore Orioles history. And the announcer, when that ball goes into the fucking yard, he goes, Camden Yards has turned into a tsunami. It was the craziest shit, man. It's the coolest celebration. It's what baseball needs. It's what it needs.
Yeah.
It was the coolest celebration I've seen all year.
We've talked about the Baltimore Orioles baseball fan base. We have. Like, remember,
when I visited.
Yeah. I mean, they were such a bad ball club, and yet they still were so dedicated and hyped on the Orioles. So I have no problem, giving a tip of my cap to the Baltimore Orioles. They're second place in a very, very, very
in the strongest division in the league.
In the strongest division in the league. I mean,
every
in
team
last
over.
place, in the last place is the New York Spankies at 23-19. Obviously, you've got Tampa Bay at 31-11 up top. But they're, I think, really gonna enjoy this season with Toronto and Boston, going head to head against them for the rest of the season. But good for Baltimore.
Dude. We gotta plug in that video of Cedric Mullins hitting that homer and the announcers. It's turned into a tsunami.
Oh, into right field. Mullins. Did he do it?
Yes.
Yes, he did. It's a tsunami. Cedric Mullins completes the cycle and sends Camden Yards into Waterworld.
It was the coolest celebration. And the announcers getting into it, man. It's like I was saying, it's what baseball needs. And remember, like, the World Baseball Classic, when all the other countries, their fans were going absolutely nuts. They're doing these different celebrations that we don't see in American baseball, that I want to see in American baseball, because it's just the fans getting into it and it's the liveliness of it. And it makes it a true event. And so I love it. I don't know what it is, if it's beer or if it's water. It's got to be expensive either way.
Yeah,
that's all.
And it's got it's got to be sticky too sometimes.
Yeah, hey, it's funny now. And you look back, it's 2023. 2 years ago, what do you think people are doing if a bird bath is going on?
Yeah.
It's just not because of COVID, like people are just so, and so it's only 2 years out of it, really, and 3 I guess 4. It started in 2019, whatever.
Yeah.
Damn, time flies.
I have a random question here. The Angels, right? They're 21-20 right now. We're half game behind them in the standings. What do you think Shohei Ohtani is thinking right now?
I think he's playing. He's playing baseball. He's not. Are you asking about his contract, where he's going to be next year?
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to be. I will bet everything that I own that Shohei Ohtani will not be a Los Angeles Angel at the end of the season. And
wasn't that also dependent on whether or not the Angels were competitive enough, right?
I don't know what competitive enough is going to be for him. A playoff
contender is what I'm referring to.
Well, I think if he's going to stay, they would need to be in the playoffs and play well in the playoffs. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, but you don't think that Chris, what I'm trying to ask you, man, is you don't think he can be playing for another team before the trade deadline?
That team would. I think that's possible. That's such a what they would have to give up to give Shohei Ohtani and to not even be guaranteed to have him for the next season. I mean, I don't see anybody doing that because what they'll have to give up is tremendous. It'll be the biggest trade in deadline history.
What I'm trying to say is you don't think we have enough trade bait to,
We're not, hell no.
sacrifice?
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
What?
Nobody should want to do that. That is irresponsible.
Huh.
That is financially, irresponsible.
Well, they both mean the same thing, fiscally and financially.
All right. Fiscally, that's irresponsible.
Okay. All right.
Fiscally, financially, that's irresponsible, Max.
I just wanted to bring up a hot take for Christ's sake, dude. Sure. Well, okay. What do we got coming up? Or actually, can I tell you about a dolphin experience?
I also had a dolphin experience. You go first.
Yeah. Okay. Quick segue away from baseball, ladies and gentlemen. I just came back from Mexico. What Sobba told you was completely inaccurate. Verified fake news. I was not in Cabo. Never been to Cabo. I don't really plan on ever going
to Cabo.
No, I'm not. I've never been to Cabo, dude. I went to Mexico, little place north of Puerto Vallarta called Punta Mita, and a little bit south of Sayulita. Okay. One of the days that we were out there with my buddies, we went on a nice little boat ride that took us to an incredible spear fishing and scuba snorkeling spot. Yes, we did a lot of spear fishing down there. It's so much fun.
Did you
to
catch
dive.
anything?
Dude, not this year, but last year when we did the same trip, I did.
You know what?
Dude,
that's why they call it fishing, not catching.
That's right. You go underwater. Excuse me. I also got sick, but you go underwater with your spear gun. You're looking down into the depths, and then you see a few big fish, and they're curious enough not to swim away too quick, and then you dive down and you line up your shot, and it's like a sniper underwater. Anyway, on the boat ride over to the spot, we're going across this bay, and we see some dolphins kind of splashing around in the distance. And the great thing about dolphins is they're so goddamn intelligent and sentient that they like to have fun, right? And you've seen this on the internet and in movies all the time, but they love to swim along with boats. So we're cruising at, I don't even know how you measure speed in knots. Yeah, I know, but like, I don't know how many knots we were going on this boat, but we're cruising, and this pod of dolphins see that we're cruising and decide to swim along with us and swim right in front of the boat. And it was my first dolphin experience. And 4 or 5 dolphins are just swimming along right in front of us. They knew that we were screaming at them and smiling at them, and they're just jumping up and swimming and curving. And it was, I did a lot of fun things in Mexico, a couple of which I don't really want to share over the podcast. But it was the most magical experience. So, to all our listeners out there that are in the Northern Hemisphere, make sure to remind yourself to enjoy summer and go see some special things out there. Tell me your dolphin story, or what?
Or you just move to Charleston and you get to see them any time of the year.
Yep. Or you can do that.
Mine wasn't nearly as cool as yours.
Yeah.
Not even close. I went on a sunset cruise. It was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And they're like mine wasn't nearly as cool as yours. It sucks. I saw dolphins on the boat. They were
sunsets in the west though. You're on the easternmost part of the United States.
There's still a sunset. It still exists, man. Like we said on one of our second ever episode where we talked about Kyrie Irving being a flat earther.
Yeah.
Earth ain't flat. So the sun will set no matter where you are in the world, Max. A little geography note for you, you dumbass. Beautiful sunset, man. And there was actually a helicopter way out in the distance, and they were doing a little helicopter tour. And I was like, that
That's
was the
pretty
next
epic.
one. That's
Yeah.
the next one I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Not anytime soon. I'm sure that is a pretty penny to pay.
Yeah. But dolphins.
Yeah. But dolphins, man. I did go swimming with a dolphin once in Cabo. That was cool. However, Evan, if we can clip that Max talking about spearfishing and then just tag PETA in it, I'd like to see what they think about Max Schwabe's spearfishing. Because
dude, it's a legitimate way of hunting. It's a legitimate
I know
way
it is.
of
I know
putting
it is.
food
I
on
just
the
like to-
table. Yeah.
I just want to get you famous for like the wrong reasons.
Oh, is
with
that
PETA.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
look, I'm an environmentalist, but PETA takes it a step too far, my friends.
They sure do.
They
They
sure
throw
fucking do.
that's fake blood on people, whatever. Beside the
Yeah,
fact.
yeah,
Coming
yeah.
up though,
Yep.
we have Boston Red Sox and the Atlanta Braves. We'll pause on the Boston Red Sox because Chris Sobba, living in Charleston, South Carolina, is a 4.5-hour drive away from Atlanta. So I will be traveling to Atlanta this weekend for a game to see the Mariners play the Braves. Didn't have this planned in the long run, but I connected the dots earlier this week, and I was like, holy shit, I can't not go.
Well, you could not go, but because you love the Mariners so much, you are going.
I can't not go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I
Yeah.
love that attitude. All right. So
Yeah.
Boston, who do we got on the bump?
Boston, the worst team in the ALS, still 4 games, something like that, over 500. Last time I checked, it could be 5 or it could be 3, depending on what happened on Sunday. Oh,
They're not the worst
goodness.
team in the
Hold on.
AL East. That's actually
Okay, so something changed. Hold on. Can we take a step back? Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out in the world. I can't
What are
believe we
we
didn't
doing?
open with this.
Yes.
This is maybe Evan, you can push this back into the opening, keep it all fresh. You do what you do, but happy Mother's Day. And baseball and moms go together like peanut butter and jelly. When I think of Mother's Day, I am always watching baseball. It's always obviously on a Sunday, but remember in Little League, when it's Mother's Day in Little League and both teams, all moms are there and they have the signs and there's all the festivities beforehand. We're saying thanks to our moms and thanks for raising us and getting us into baseball, whatever it was, right? But it's just, I can't believe we didn't open with this. And I had to interrupt because my mom, I know, is my rock, and she's the most wonderful person in the world. She's mom to many of you. You guys probably even consider my mom a mom. She's an absolute saint. So she doesn't listen to this podcast, but that doesn't matter. I had I FaceTimed her earlier today, and the coolest gift I've ever gotten my mother. I'm just gonna flex on myself here for a second because I'm sure I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I made a half-court shot at Washington State University.
Oh, yeah.
This one time, and it was about a couple weeks before Mother's Day, and I won. Well, I was told I won $1,600 cash, and then they called me. They're like, "Yeah, it was $1,600 to a jewelry store." And I'm like, "What in the world do you think? What do you think a college student needs $1,600 to go spend on jewelry store?"
They took you for a ride, man.
It was falsely advertised, and so I fought my fight. And I said, "Hey guys, you said this." It was even on the broadcast. The announcers were like, "Some guy just won $1,600 cash," and so I cut a deal, and they split it down the middle. They gave me $800 cash, $800 gift card to the jewelry store. So I went to Sam Dowell Jewelers in Pullman, Washington, and I got myself 2 nice watches, which I still have to this day. But I got my mom a necklace. I didn't tell any of my siblings this. This was like the coolest Mother's Day ever, and I got my mom a sweet necklace for Mother's Day. And we go home, and everybody's giving her flowers, chocolates, and I'm waiting for the last person to give her the gift. And it's just this nice jewelry necklace. And she's like, "Oh my God, what did you spend on this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's from the half-court shot." It was the coolest Mother's Day gift ever.
As you're all listening to this on Monday, Mother's Day was yesterday. I had plans, I got back from Mexico on Saturday, which was also my mom's birthday. My mom's birthday was on Saturday.
Barb, happy belated.
Happy belated, Barb. And my Mother's Day was also on Sunday. Sunday, after getting home from Mexico, I planned on obviously going over to her house, bringing her flowers and everything. I came back from Mexico incredibly sick, head cold, COVID, not sure what it is. You know, I call her up and I say, hey, Ma, look, I'm not going to be able to make it to Mother's Day. Whatever. And this saint of a woman says, what do you need? And ends up coming out to my, apartment, drops off, emergency DayQuil. She brings me food. She brings me chicken noodle soup. And I go, Ma, I mean, I should be the one that's bringing you things. And she said, no, Max, there's nothing more Mother's Day than bringing your son, stuff to heal yourself when you're sick. So I too have always been a mother's boy, mother's boy, and
Mommy's boy.
Mommy's boy.
I am one too.
Yeah, we love you, mothers. Anyway, look, getting back to
one last thing on the Dolphins.
Okay.
I watched a movie from the 90s called Zeus and Roxanne. You ever heard of it?
No.
It's a wonderful, beautiful. It's a 90s movie, right? And so
sounds terrible.
No, it's not. But it's about a dog, Zeus, and a dolphin, Roxanne, who become best friends, and it's just incredible. And it's like a love story too. I was crying during it because I cry during movies now. I get emotional. I can't help it. It's the older I've gotten. Do yourself a favor and go watch Zeus and Roxanne. It's amazing. I don't even want to. I won't get too much into it to for whatever reason, so we can get back to the Seattle Mariners baseball talk. Do yourself a favor, Zeus and Roxanne.
Thanks for the Zeus and Roxanne plug. Dolphins are my third favorite animal, and always love dolphins. Now,
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Number 1 is a grizzly bear. Number 2 is a sea turtle. I saw both sea turtles and dolphins in Mexico.
I mean, what about dogs, man?
Dogs
aren't even in your top 3.
Dogs are my top 1 house pet. I'm talking about wild freaking animals, my friend.
All right, just making sure. I don't know. All right,
big freaking difference. Now, look, when we go to Boston today on Monday, we've got George Kirby on the bump, 4-2, 2.62 ERA. Tuesday, we've got Luis Castillo, 2-1, 2.7 ERA. And Wednesday, we've got Marco Gonzalez, 3-0, 4.42 ERA. I think
only pitcher for the Seattle Mariners who doesn't have an L in that column.
That's correct. I think I have high hopes, for the M's in this first series. Okay. I think it's going to be tough going into Fenway. That's going to, play a role in it, but I'm hoping that we come out with at least a series win in Boston, right?
I would hope that you would hope that we at least come out with a series.
Okay, maybe I could use a better freaking word, Chris, but I really freaking want a series win in Boston. So that way, when we play the big scary Braves, maybe we can have another 3-3 freaking week.
We have not been over 500 since opening day.
That's correct. That is correct.
Oh, wait. No, we were, and then now we're back to it.
I guess we were. Yeah, earlier this week, there was a moment.
I mean, before we played on Sunday, we were over 500.
We were 20-19, and now we're 20-20.
Yeah.
But
James Paxton pitched for the Boston Red Sox earlier this week. They are giving him an extra day off. So unfortunately, I wish we could have seen James Paxton. It would have been great to go against him, but he pitched for the first time in 2 years. And so, a little Mariners shout out. I know none of us have anything against James Paxton other than he just couldn't stay healthy. And so it's good to see him actually getting back on the bump, doing some things, and pitching in Major League Baseball again. Yeah,
couldn't agree more. I always love Big Maple. Glad to see him bounce back as a pitcher. I think it's great when you go through so much struggle and then, you come back on top. But us pitchers got to stick together. I was a pitcher once, and he's a great pitcher.
Really, still are.
All right, boys. Anything else left to say to our ladies and gentlemen that are through and through Mariners fans? Evan, I think you're good. So
Bryce Miller, back to him. He's allowed 3 or fewer hits in his first 3 starts as well. That's
I
cool.
did want to end on a positive note, and I wanted that note to be Bryce freaking Miller. I'm so, again, I've said this before, didn't have a chance to say it last week. I'm so excited to have him, and I'm very excited to see what else he can do. Listen up, folks. It's week blah 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 whatever of baseball, but we've got two great teams that we're going up against: Boston Red Sox and the Atlanta Braves. Let's see if we can come out of the end of this week over 500. Let's start making a push for that first place. Let's take down the goddamn Rangers.
And if we have any listeners in Atlanta going to the game, let me know. Love to watch the game with some Mariners fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure to like and subscribe, comment, hit up Chris Sobba if you want to go catch a Mariners Braves games with him. But as always, take care of yourselves out there. Go Mariners. I'm Max Schwabe, Chris Sobba, Evan Barron. We love you.